Okay, good evening, everybody. How is everybody doing? Obviously, first question I always ask, can you hear me? Is the volume good? Is the mic levels good? Just let us know. Let's get some of the chat going. Thanks for starting to fill out the poll. Be interesting to hear anybody's views, whether it be yes or no. We're pretty much going to jump into Blackrock quite quickly. So anyhow, let me just make sure all the cameras and everything are set up right, and we're jumping on. So, okay, as I said, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us again. Another Thursday evening, another Thursday, bloody hell, wishing the week away. Another Tuesday evening, and welcome to another Avengers call. It's amazing how the narrative in crypto can just shift so quickly. I mean, last week's call, we were talking about the Binance and the SEC lawsuits still. And what problems that may be causing. And then over the course of about 4 or 5 days, suddenly there's some bullish momentum in the market. Suddenly we're talking about the likes of Blackrock, Fidelity, Citadel, all of these people, Deutsche Bank, NASDAQ, all of these people suddenly get institutions getting involved with crypto and within the crypto space. And you don't need a rocket science or to see sort of how that shift is going to then impact the price. A positive change in narrative is obviously going to have a positive impact on price. But tonight, we're going to take a little bit more of a dive into some of the news that's come out. We're going to talk about the Blackrock ETF, Bitcoin ETF application that's been made. We're going to talk about the rumors around Fidelity and sort of where that may be going. We'll briefly touch on Citadel, Charles Schwab, and also Fidelity Digital Assets, which is a slightly separate firm. So we'll cover that. There has been some news which maybe has slightly been overshadowed regarding SBF and his case, and potentially some hurdles that are coming along with that one. So we'll go over that. And then I want to talk to you about NFTs, actually, and something that is launching within the online gaming market, which could be or could lead to a bit of a game changer. So something quite exciting there. Sorry, I was about to sneeze. I was going to talk about a research token today, and I apologize on this one. So it was Talos, and I started looking into it. I might just briefly touch on it, but I will cover it in more detail next week. I just didn't get enough time over yesterday and today to really dig into it, just because I was digging into the Blackrock and everything else kind of news. And if it's going to be a research token, I want it to do it justice. So we'll have a look at that. And then another one that's been asked, which we'll add to the list, is GMX, which we actually haven't covered. We know that Simon's gone back into that. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. We'll go through there. But for the second half of this video, I want to spend quite a bit of time actually going over the Bitcoin price. So we're going to focus predominantly on Bitcoin. We're going to look at multiple time frames within that and try and understand what it's doing, where it potentially could be going. We're going to bring up trading view. We're going to bring up high block. We're going to bring up trading live. We're going to have a look at order books. Just try and understand where this may be going. And should we be jumping on the bull market bandwagon ourselves? And then we will have a look at some other altcoins within the market. But I think what we'll do is we will just jump in. Obviously, if you have any questions or any comments, or you want to just add something to the thing, feel free to just dump it in the chat box. I will be periodically looking at it, and I'll certainly scroll back to make sure that we cover those as best we can. But right now, let us jump in. Okay, so here we got the charts in front of us, and we can actually see with the Bitcoin, it's had a hell of a move today, just over 4% currently sitting out at the moment, battling in and around the 28,000 level. And if you think about the last time we held this call, a week ago, we were down at 25,000. And I'll talk about it when we go into BTC price a little bit later, but that was a big target for us last week. And we're talking about where 25 might be from a psychological point of view, but also in terms of turning the price around there. And yes, you could argue that the news has helped to do that. But the news, I mean, I'll just make this larger so we can see it a little bit better. Maybe I won't. There we go. So the Blackrock news dropped on Thursday, which is this green candle. So you can certainly say that that has helped push the price up. Now, whether or not it's a case of show me the charts and I'll tell you the news, or just market makers hiding their movements behind news, we'll have to wait and see, and we will go into that a little bit later on. But the news dropped on Thursday, and since then we've had around about an 11% increase. 11.1 from body to body so far. So Again, pretty impressive. Having a look at some of the other assets, the dollar, after the rate hike pause last week, the dollar kind of dumped from that. It had found some sort of area around about 102.1. We've seen a bounce over the last couple of days climbing from that. Ethereum's kind of followed Bitcoin. There's no surprise there. But what is not necessarily a surprise, but the S&P has just been on a rip, and it continues to be on a rip. You know, since May, early May, this has just been in a steady uptrend, and really showing no signs. My only concern at the moment is I can't even get the tool to draw it. It is starting to curve up a moment. There is starting to sort of narrow it down there. Maybe there's potential for some form of correction. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. In terms of levels that we may be interested in, I mean, we're kind of, I was going to say this is kind of a decent level, 4,412, I suppose so, but actually maybe we might get as high as 446, 450, 446 kind of range, which I suppose it has spiked up to kind of that area. So yeah, we just need to watch where that one's going, and potentially, obviously, any correction we have there may also be felt in the crypto markets. Right then, let's just make sure everything's going well. Hey there, Mo, Adam, Stuart, Chris, good to see you all. Erkan, good to see you too. Ryan's here, thanks a lot. Let's have a look. Blackrock ETF is already approved. This is just smoke and mirrors for us, Joe Public. Yeah, could well be the case. Fortunately, they do have to file these things publicly. They may have got a pat on the back. I don't disagree there. Fully orchestrated power play on BTC and the overall crypto markets, definitely. Stream freezing for everybody else. Has it frozen? Let me just have a look. I've got an excellent condition. But can someone just type something in chat if you're still there? Otherwise, I'm going to have to hit refresh. Okay, someone's put it's all good. 488. So yes, I've got excellent condition on mine, so I'm not sure what's happening there. It was freezing, but it went okay now. Okay, right, there we go, perfect. Tim's here as well. Great to see everyone. And Greg, I just feel like I'm rattling off people's names now. Okay, right, well, let's start jumping into some of the news. So as we've just talked about, BlackRock has gone and filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF. And it says here a US first if approved. The point is that this is not the first time that an institution has applied for a spot ETF, Bitcoin ETF, I should say. But up until now, the likes of ARK and Grayscale, the Winklevi's, they've all had theirs rejected for various of reasons. And we're going to kind of touch on at least one of the reasons a little bit later on, potentially why BlackRock's might be different. Why are people getting excited that BlackRock have suddenly made the application? Well, these are the largest institutional asset management company in the world. So, you know, the chances are that they only make these moves if they feel comfortable and confident that they're actually going to be able to get something through. Now, that doesn't guarantee success. Of course it doesn't. I was chatting with someone last night, and I don't have any actual evidence to validate this, but they were saying that in its history, BlackRock have applied for over 270 applications for an ETF, and at every application they've made, it has been approved. So is the spot Bitcoin ETF they've applied for going to buck that trend for them? We shall just have to wait and see. But let's just have a look in a bit more detail here. So BlackRock has filed an application for a Bitcoin spot exchange traded fund, or an ETF. The investment company is the world's largest, and it would be the first crypto spot ETF in the United States. Remember, there is actually a spot ETF out of Canada. I'm not sure if there's anywhere else, but that was certainly the first. So according to the filing by the NASDAQ Stock Exchange with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, Coinbase Custody Trust Company will be the custodian. So Coinbase are going to be involved in this as well, which is kind of interesting because they're still being sued by the SEC. But anyway, the custodians of the fund's Bitcoin holdings and the Bank of New York Mellon would custody its fiat. So BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust would be traded as a commodity-based trust share. So the application was filed on the 15th of June. This is the application. I will dump it in Discord for you all when you have time to go through all 111 pages of it. Generally doesn't really mean much to me, and I think most of the articles pick the salient points from it. But the shares have been designed to remove the obstacles represented by the complexities and operational burdens involved in a direct investment in Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin price will be updated at least every 15 seconds during regular market trading using the CF benchmark indicators. So the document notes that previously approved spot exchange traded products, I'm down in this paragraph here now, in the commodities and currencies markets are generally unregulated. So they're trying to already rule out just because it's not a regulated asset doesn't mean that it can't have an ETF. And the commission relied on the underlying futures market as the basis for approving trust shares in the past. Thus, and obviously there's a quote there which pretty much repeats exactly what I just said. The SEC has not approved a spot ETF so far, despite numerous applications. Grayscale even took the SEC to the appeals court to argue the soundness of Bitcoin's futures after the SEC rejected its application to create a spot ETF. Cathie Wood's ARK Investments and Europe Investments 21 shares have also been pressing the spot ETF, and they've actually filed theirs back in April, but we haven't heard the result from that. Now, there you go. The first spot traded Bitcoin ETF was Canada's Purpose Bitcoin ETF set up in early 2021. There you go. So just going back to, timelines for ETFs, I am now getting an error message. Hopefully it hasn't frozen for you guys. It has cleared up again now, but we shall see. Sorry, I'm just having a look here. See if there's anything I can do to change this whilst we're waiting. Okay, it seems to have disappeared again, although that screen there has frozen. Okay. Right. Anyway, it says that we're back up and running. We shall see whether or not that's true when I get to try and post the recording later. So, typically ETFs, take best part of 250 days. I think it's 240 days to be approved. So it's not necessarily a short process. Adam's saying it has been freezing a few times. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, guys. This could end in disaster. I'm going to try and just refresh and see what happens. Just bear with me. I think I have. Hopefully that's done something a little bit better. Went a bit patchy, but you're back now. Obviously, someone else is using the Wi-Fi in the county of Yorkshire, and that's affecting things. I'm not really too sure. I'll keep on checking it, but guys, just let me know. If it gets too bad, I'll just end the stream and do the old classic on and off, start it again and see what happens. So BlackRock have actually asked the SEC in this instance to expedite their application, and they want it, an answer within 30 days. Now, I've not seen anything from the SEC to say that they will do that. Don't know whether they even have to comment on that. But that is certainly the message that's being pushed out in the media right now, is that BlackRock are pushing for a quick turnaround and a quick answer. So potentially, end of July, beginning of the summer, we might actually get a response on that, which, would be interesting to see. So, oops, don't know why that's reloaded again. Yep, so this was the first tweet that I saw back then, and then that was a file, so that's where I got it from. As I said, this is the application. Again, it's 111 pages long. It goes into all the details of why they want to do it, what they're going to do, how it's going to be managed, how it's going to be monitored, etc., etc. A lot of details. I'll be honest, of what I read, which wasn't all 111 pages, 95% of it didn't make any sense to me, but there it is if anyone wants to have a look at it. And as we can say, from the price that we've seen, the price has reacted very positively from that news. And today, even more so. I mean, that it's down to under 4% now, but the 4 and a bit % rise that we've seen, hitting that 28,000 level, has been a welcome climb. But when you compound that with the previous 5 days, then yeah, it's done quite well. And if those of you that are trying to